Hi everybody! How's it going? Hello Lost Socks and Apelcatrox, our first chatters today. I am just getting set up. It's about time to get started, so I figured I would just chat a little bit while I grab things and look around. Okay, so I did a little bit of work earlier today, not very much, but just a few details so that I would be ready to show a little bit of progress and make sure that we would be on track to finish this today. So the stuff that I did was touching up the roof. I just used a lot of the leftover little pieces. I was taking so long and I was feeling like it was starting to be boring, so I decided to just do that in my own time before starting the stream today. This is where we're at. The furniture is not permanently attached in there yet. I just kind of placed it so that I could take cute little photos of it. But I'll show you a couple of the tiny updates. Quite literally tiny. My toadstools, I painted the base of these to match the table itself, and all of this stuff is now glued together. So this is like assembled permanently in a specific way. So in this case, I have tiny little coffee cups, and I just filled them with paint. Like, they're so tiny. Paint kind of dries weird and not necessarily like completely flat. But at this scale, it's so little, I figured it's fine. It doesn't need to be anything more substantial than that. I am going to touch up the rim just a tiny bit because there's... Oh, thank you, Car of Nerds, for the resub. You're on a 3-month streak, and they said, hello everyone, glad to finally catch a stream. I hope everyone is keeping safe and well. And yes, everyone out there, hope your quarantine is going safely and well. Anyway, my progress here on this little guy is that I took some time to glue this stuff together and do like the touch-up painting that was just like minute details that required a little bit more concentration, and I wasn't sure it was as visually interesting, so I just did that on my own. So now we have 2 tiny coffee cups on a saucer on a table that has been fully painted and fully assembled and glued together. I made sure to arrange the cups so that the handles were like sitting in each direction as though 2 people are next to each other. There we go. Sorry, I gotta do my tiny camera work over here. My little bitty fairy house. Anyway, so for today, my main goal is to do the finishing touches, which is going to be moss on the roof and some flowers. I have a bunch of these little fabric flowers, and I like the color of them. I thought they would just be a nice touch to add to this, and I'm just going to do a couple of things to get started. These like white ones, here we go. These little bitty white ones, or the light blue flowers have white stems, and I don't love that. I want them to be green. Where am I going to put this camera? That seems fine. Okay, so I have my green paint picked out, and I'm going to paint these, and then that's just how we'll get started for today. So this will get painted, and then moss will be added, and then finally stick the flowers on there. And I'm excited to get it all wrapped up pretty soon. I'm gonna get a different paintbrush for this. Oh, and as I was talking about stuff as I was getting started, I'm gonna try to find some kind of, I don't know, jewelry component, something or other that's interesting looking to add to the back wall of this. Like, it's art that's hanging on the wall. So yeah, we'll just look at some options and see what we like. And this paintbrush seems like a good choice for what I want. Alright, what all is going on here? Carve Nerds saying this one looking so cute. Thank you. I'm really excited about the progress I'm making here. I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. I guess you can't really see much anyway. You'll just see my tablet. Alright, so in that case I'm just gonna swap screens. I wish this camera were a bit brighter. I tried to set it up that way and it just didn't look good. It doesn't want to like automatically find that setting, but hopefully things are easy enough to see. Yeah, I think that'll work. Cool. I'm just going to carefully paint these stems. So that the white doesn't stand out so much when I stick it on the house. Anyway, today is going to be the last day I work on this one here on stream. Next week, we'll have the same streaming schedule Monday through Wednesday at 2 p.m. And I'll be working on something else. I don't know exactly what, but something good. Figure it out. Hey Kitten Kicks, welcome back. You're ready for more fairy goodness while you finish up your sewing? Well, that's nice. I'm glad you got something to keep you occupied. Yeah, everybody in the chat, let me know what you're working on right now, whether you are working from home, doing your actual job, or doing some other kind of personal project. Please share. Green tea latte. Green tea latte sounds delicious. We've got some art going on with people knitting and painting. It's always nice to hear. And of course, as always, we have a Discord community. It's linked in the info box below the stream. You Love Lucy, thank you so much for the resub at tier 2. Subbed for 30 months. Thank you so much. Yay streams. Yes, we are continuing today the ongoing little fairy porch. I like this color. It's like a super light dusty green. Beautiful. Anyway, today what have I done? I edited a bunch of product photos this morning to get ready for my weekly store update on Friday. So for the schedule that I've kind of set up for myself, I'm going to be streaming Monday through Wednesday, and then I have Thursday and Friday to prepare and upload all of my shop updates. And so that's kind of my personal goals for this week that I'm thankfully on track with. So you'll love to see the new schedule. Thank you. I mean, it's nice to just have a schedule. I think that's been good for me. I've been chatting with a friend of mine who just recently got into streaming, and that's also been something that's encouraged me to have more of a routine with these projects. And yeah, I think that's just been very beneficial for me in general. Rena Bean is in the process of turning an old stage tree prop from a musical a while back into a jewelry hanger. Had to pause to wait for your hooks to come in. That sounds like an interesting project. Have you posted that in our Discord? I'll have to go and check it out. I haven't been as active on there, but I need to get back to it. I've been enjoying my social isolation in terms of just like, I'm just chilling. I don't need to talk to anybody. But I should get back to that. Yeah, please do share it. Okay, Fox and Boxton is also working on the fairy light bottle necklace that they had the idea for a couple of streams ago, and it's coming along great. Well, I am looking forward to seeing that project too, because that sounds amazing. So please do share that one in Discord as well. Zeffy Bun says the schedules make it easy to fit in time to watch people you like, because you'll know when they'll be on. You're right, indeed. It's better for everybody. I have had a hard time sticking to a schedule in the past, and so I didn't want to set myself up for failure. But I realized, I need to just overcome that and be stronger than my urge to procrastinate and all of that. Oh. So far I've had one successful week, and I was doing really well in February when I started streaming, January when I first started streaming, and I gave myself that schedule of I'll stream every weekday. I was doing very well with that until I decided to just nix the schedule and stream when I felt like it, and then I never got on. So I think that having the schedule is something that's going to keep me accountable for I need to do this X times per week or whatever. And it also just helps me balance the time that I spend creating art, on a stream, versus, making sure that I'm photographing, editing, uploading products so that I can keep making money at my store. Rena's doing a random spur-of-the-moment painting. That sounds fun, though. Well, so far, structure has been very good for me. So we'll see if I can keep it up. But yeah, it's been pretty uneventful, that quarantine life where everybody's just staying home. But at the very least, I've been maintaining a baseline productivity. And here I am creating a new little fairy house. If I have the ability to photograph this weekend, I will, because I think that would be really great. Yeah, it kind of depends on if I can get out to a unpopulated natural area. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I might experiment with it. Carve Nerds is knitting on 5 needles at once right now. That sounds very intense and complicated. But yeah, everybody for hanging out here in the chat. Tell me your most recent quarantine stories, if anything has happened of interest in your household while we're all trapped inside. Because Aries and I, it's just the two of us, not too much action going on in our house. You know, streaming has also been giving me an excuse to like get fully dressed. Which I would not normally put very much effort into. Like, you know, doing makeup, you know, and my hair and all of that, and actually looking presentable. Streaming also gives me some incentive to do that. Fatulous Face says they want to know how to sew. Well then, we can do something about that. We can do some sewing. There's so many face mask patterns going around right now. One of the companies that I work with, Cut Sew, actually just released a face mask pattern. I saw it as I was like hopping on Instagram to post about this stream, but anyway, I don't know if I might make theirs or I might just look around for other patterns, but I'll ask them about it. At the very least, we will be. I'll find something because I really would like to make some masks. Like I was talking about in the last stream, I think that there's a lot of opportunity there for fashion development, I guess you could say. So I'm curious about what kind of designs I can come up with. Quarantine, but make it fashion. Hi, Cal. Yes, You Love Lucy's talking about God Save the Queen. That is correct. She is my mentor and former tutor, I guess you could say. I was an intern for her a couple years ago. So I've been talking with her about Twitch streaming, and she's actually my like Twitch accountability buddy right now. So all of you, if you're watching and you're interested in crafting and mask making, you should check her out. Check out her Twitch page. And I will regularly host her streams on this channel too. So she is making masks and selling them in her shop, and they're very cute. So I decided to paint the whole stem on this one, because it occurred to me that I might take, because these are wired, so it occurred to me that I might take my little tweezers and like curl it around to look like a vine and have them all connected. We'll see how I do with that. So now I'm going to take a moment to continue painting these teeny tiny vines. Quarantine happenings. Fog Prince is making their own mead. That sounds interesting. Good luck with that. I hope it goes well. Zeffy Buns is getting ready to set up for streaming. That's awesome. You should definitely, yeah, take baby steps like you said. And yeah, I'm glad that you're here in our stream, and I hope this gives you some confidence and that your stream can just be like you doing a thing and just like kind of chatting with whoever shows up. So if you're here in the... What kind of streams are you going to do, Zeffy Bun? Let us know. And if you're here in the chat and you're interested in helping out someone who's getting started with their stream, maybe you can give them a follow. Hi, Penguin Cosplay. Fog Prince says that their mayor closed liquor stores and closed alcohol sales, but A Petty says in Wisconsin liquor has been deemed essential. That makes more sense to me. I mean, if everybody's sitting at home, not much to do, well, I think a lot of people have a lot to do, but certainly alcohol keeps it interesting, I guess. Alright. is a time-consuming little detail, but it feels right, you know. Watch me end up like snipping off these wires. So this is coated in some kind of paper, which is what I'm actually painting. And this is just some little acrylic paint from my stash of plaid paints. And this one's a folk art paint. I'm glad to see people supporting each other here in our chat, making some friends. Yeah, maybe you can stream some fairy houses. Yeah, sometimes the time-consuming details do make the biggest difference. And there's certainly quite a bit more detail I could be adding to this, but we'll see what ends up being the highest priority. Fox and Boxen says that the lights just look like little light bulbs rather than bottles. I mean, that could still be really cool, unless you're not digging it. Well, I've been having a lot of fun with this particular fairy build that we've been working on this week. I don't know what makes it different. I think that it's like all of the multimedia, all the different little items that I'm adding to it. I don't know, it feels fresh. I'm constantly like working with different mediums and trying new things and finding new materials to experiment with, because that's one of the things that I enjoy just as an artist, is that I like to bounce around to a bunch of different things. But yeah, I guess maybe that's the reason why I'm feeling these fairy houses right now, and particularly this one, because just like, oh, what am I making? What am I working with? Little wooden spools and buttons? Cool. Sure, let me just dig into the Barney box or Barney bag and pull out whatever I like. Yeah, Barney bag was absolutely my jam back in the day. Like, just like the concept of like having a bag of like all of your art supplies of like a random recyclable little craft materials and stuff all stashed away somewhere. So I definitely have had my own Barney bag over the years, and now like just my whole studio is my Barney bag. You can't wait to see Heidi still happily working in the magical fairy houses when she's a tiny old lady. Yeah, me too. A Petty says, where did the little bottle lights come from? You were late to yesterday's stream. So those were made on day one. On Monday's stream. You can watch that. It's on Twitch, or you can find it on YouTube. But yes, that you can watch the details of that. But the tiny bottles are like jewelry components, or they're sold as jewelry components. So they're just like teeny tiny bottles from a craft store. And then the lights that are inside them are a strand of fairy lights that I've like twisted up and set inside the bottles and like sliced to the cork so that the wires could go through them and stuff. So that's where they came from, and all of that you can watch if you go back to part 1 of this project. But yeah, those are definitely a favorite. One of the problems I have with the fairy houses is like putting so much attention and love into each one and then wanting to keep them all. But I can't. I gotta sell them. I gotta make art and sell products. So, you know, that's fine. It just means I need to keep making them so that I never, like, get sad about not having them, because there's always fresh fairy houses and there's always, like, the latest project that's even newer and, like, more exciting, and, you know, I'm trying something different, etc. So that's what I've decided. You gotta sell them, you gotta keep making them to fuel my addiction to having tiny cute things. Wait till you find out how old Heidi got a hook for a hand. Oh no, I hope I don't get a hook for a hand. If I do get a hook for a hand, it would just be like another tool here. It would have to be some kind of like multi-tool where I just like whip out my bionic tool and like it's a screwdriver, it's, you know, whatever other thing. Hi, Stealth Slug. Yeah, a petty check at the archive. Zeffy Buns is saying that everyone will still be in the chat saying, back in my day, as I'm making art as an old lady. That's fine. Alright, moving along. We have done the painting of the tiny green stems. I'll tighten this up a little bit. It's getting a lot of movement. Okay. Now I need to, oh wait, there's one more. There's one last one that I missed somehow. Need a fresh paper towel. A really big crochet hook for a hook hand, like in Captain Hook, but it's just like massive crochet hook instead. Could be interesting, I'll think about it. Did I add vines to it? Asks Mythic Phoenix. Technically I'm about to, so that's not really attached yet. So yes, good call on that. That's what I'm, one of the things I'm gonna glue on there to get started, because we are adding vines. So that is just kind of like placed in there right now, and I'll kind of look at the placement, but I like the idea of them hanging down, and I also like the idea of these flowers kind of hanging off the vine and also like the roof of the hut. And so we're about to do all of that fun detail work, which will also be like moss. The moss stage, adding the moss. I don't know what to call that. We'll have to come up with a name for it. Alright, for my hot glue gun, I'm going to use my precision tip hot glue gun this time, which is this little guy. So just compared to the other one, it has a smaller tip. This does also have a high-low temperature setting, but it's not as hot as the larger gun, I think, just because of its size. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let me plug this in. Alright, so while that heats up, the other thing I'm going to take a minute to do is look through the Barney bag of jewelry components. Oh no, that one's still a tiny bit wet. This acrylic paint dries so quickly, I just kind of took for granted that these would be fine, but they honestly need a few minutes, and I'm just gonna lay them out on the paper towel. Okay, cool. Well, I technically took care of that. Alright, so this Let me just move things around. That'll be easiest. Okay, paint closed, set aside. Tiny things, cute things, I put over here. Well, this is dried really nicely. I can see a bubble in the brown paint right now, so I'll have to top that off. I'll top off the coffees when they've settled. We'll give a little warm up, as they say in the diners. Alright, now into here. It's a jewelry component box. So the point of this was to hopefully find something that could be an interesting decoration for the backdrop, like this. I have two butterflies. This is the cuter butterfly, in my professional opinion. This one's cuter. So I could have that mounted on the wall as like some butterfly art in the background, and it kind of matches the theme with there's gold. I might drop it down slightly. It fits better up higher. You like the butterflies? That looks cute to Stealth Slug. Zippity Zoo is gonna mine those crafts while watching the stream. Well, that's good. I guess this could be fine sitting a little bit lower, because I want it to be nicely visible. And so then, here, I'm gonna swap cameras real quick. Sorry, my fingers are kind of in the way, but to add a little butterfly decoration to the wall behind, as though they have like some wall art set up. Because otherwise, it's very cute, but it feels a little bit empty to me. Like, even with the toadstools in there, it feels like that space is left like unaccounted for. Like nothing was thought to be added there. And as cute, oops, there's some moss. As cute as this is basically like undecorated in terms of this being like the fairy wall. So, you know, I want to decorate the fairy house. And so this is a little crocheted vine. I had some leaf trim, but it wasn't very high quality. It didn't look as nice in my opinion, so I decided to crochet around it, and I think it looks way cuter. So switching back to my detail cam, I am gonna go with this butterfly. I think that suits my vision. Looks pretty with the butterfly on it. It'll be super cute. Says Spatula's face. Thank you. And Stealth Slug is in love with the little lights. Thank you, me too. Alright, so this is high temp. We are going to start by gluing this vine in. Now this is one continuous piece. I kind of have it shoved in there in such a way that the this rough backdrop was kind of just holding it in place. And I was thinking that I could use this to kind of cover this seam here and the edge so that you don't like see the hard transition. I just think that will look nicer. So that's what I have planned for this little guy. And I'm just gonna hot glue it because it doesn't need anything more than that. Here's my precision tip hot glue gun right there. You can see a much finer tip, and that allows me to get in there exactly where I want it. Alright, but as I said, it cools down faster. I'm less concerned about burning myself and more concerned about making sure that I get it on there while it's like warm enough to really take hold. But yeah, I'm really not going to try to force it to do anything fancy, although I think twisting it a little bit is nice. That is nice. Okay, so we'll just twist it a little bit to make sure that it has some shape to it. But that way it will stay completely vertical, but that twist will have a little bit more implied movement and natural shaping to it. And it also naturally wants to twist because it's a row single crochet. It's like around the little trim. So there you go. There's one side secure. And now the other one. This will also hide like the interior seams where the materials meet each other. So that's just convenient. I mean, it's not an angle that's going to be very visible to people, but it's still just nice to have a nice, clean, polished looking interior when you can. You want to live in a cabin that looks like this fairy porch? Same though. Hi Piano Sammy, welcome back. You saw the notification this time, I'm glad. I'm glad that you can make it. Okay, so once again, we're just encouraging it to twist while continuing to glue along a relatively straight path and hide this seam area. Still Slug says, who wants to come into the woods with me and then disappear under mysterious circumstances? That sounds great. Would love to do that. But how are we going to support ourselves? And take to the woods. Can I just be somebody's ornamental hermit? Alright, gotta make sure I'm covering my own glue. But yeah, alright, there's a little bit of vine to hang down there. I'm gonna tack this so that it looks like it's hanging naturally. We'll just encourage it to stay in place by having it strategically glued a little bit lower down. You want to own a sled dog team and spin yarn from their fur. That sounds pretty nice. Living the dream. Alright, that way the vines won't like flop around too much. They're kind of tacked down without being like stiff. So there is all of that. Looking cute. Wow, we're already 40 minutes in. I feel like there's so much to do. Now, I kind of want to secure this better than just using hot glue, because I don't know if I trust hot glue on this particular piece for the long term. For like fiber items, it's perfect because it's just going to grip into those fibers. But I was just thinking, I wish I had a little figurine to put in the middle of the wings, because they could just be fairy wings, you know, like instead of being butterfly wings, technically they could just be fairy wings. That'd be cute. Okay. Car of Nerds looks the way that I made the thatched roof. Thank you so much. Zeffy Buns is heading out. See you guys next week. Can make a little sign. It could be the outside of a fairy coffee shop. That could be a thing. All right. Well, at the very least, I'm not 100% committed. I don't know. I do think that's very cute. Having some kind of sign is also very cute. Okay. So I'm not 100% committed to that. I'm just going to leave it for now. Maybe I'll come up with something later. But we have other work to do, so let's keep moving along. That said, this can go away, and the moss can come out, because it's moss time. Moss time! Okay, here's some mossy materials. And I'm going to set the food aside once again. I just love how this came out. It's so cute. Oh, alright. Okay. So, I was going to sprinkle a little bit of this tiny stuff on the outside and then use clumps of the dried moss. So, for sprinkling, I'm going to use a tacky glue. We'll put it in a little cup. That's fine. I'm going to stay hydrated. Moss, 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 moss. Cafe Faye says fog prints. Oh my gosh, that's so precious. I think you just named this one. But here's the thing. I was saying this is somebody's like porch at their home because they're social distancing right now. You know, we're promoting good habits on our fairy stream. I guess that's not really necessary. They can be out at the cafe. You know what? Maybe they just don't have coronavirus in their community because they're so little. They're so little. They can't catch the virus because they're too itty bitty. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is just start putting some of this white glue on the roof over here. And then we'll just sprinkle the green on after that and see how that goes. And I'm going to concentrate these little glue dollops over anything that I feel like needs to be covered. Like if there's a gap or a visible hot glue clump or something. I'm going to put white glue on top of it so that it will catch the mossy fibers, and that will hide the undesirable sections. And then there will be more moss on top of that, so, you know, good stuff. I tried to peel out most of the hot glue strands while I was doing cleanup details on this. I got most of them, probably not all. Definitely not all, but a lot. Okay, there's just like, I'll do the back a little bit separately. Okay. But some of these areas do need some cleanup and or cover up. Oh, I missed a notification. Hold on, I'll go back and check on things in the chat in just a second. This is somewhat time sensitive, so let me get this glue underway and covered up, and then I'll go and double check on like highlighted messages or things that I might have just missed. Alright, there's a lot of glue all over this now. And some undesirable strands in my moss jar. It's like fabric threads, I can see. This one's bright blue and iridescent. So at least it's not a human hair. Alright. Okay, onward. Fluffy brush is what I use for this usually. Which is how I ended up getting strands of stuff in here, I'm sure. So this is kind of layer 1, and I'm applying a lot, and yes, a lot will fall off, but some of it will stick, and that's, you know, what we want. It helps things look a little bit more natural and random too. Or like organic, I guess you could say. Oh, there's that annoying thread again. Got you. Okay, so now we have some of this green kind of like packed into the thatched areas, which is what I wanted to be a base for adding the more textural clumps of moss on top. So, let me see, what did I miss in the chat? Genuinely love the idea of you making fairy stores as well as fairy homes, says Car of Nerds. Oh, don't worry. We've got that underway. It's a self-built cafe and they're quarantined because they couldn't cope being without their caffeine, so technically it is their home, but once the virus is gone, it will turn to a thriving small business. I like that headcanon. Thank you for writing that little story about fairies. Okay, so I'm just gonna shake this through my trash can now to get rid of a lot of this extra dust. And we still have green, specifically on the glued areas. Yay. All this stuff needs to get swept away. So that was still relatively subtle after all of the extra got shaken off. There's not too much on there right now, which is fine. We're gonna use the other kind now. And I'm thinking I might, well, let's see how this goes. We'll try it with each type of glue, kind of depending on how things meet. How's King Aries? He's sleepy. He's fine. Gucci Ghost! Welcome back! Your boy finally made it to a stream, he says. Welcome back. It's moss time, baby, says Stealth Slug. And they're right. It is moss time. You got here right just in time for moss time. So, as usual, I have several different colors of moss. This orange stuff really blends in with the orange roof, which I think is nice. And let's also use the this like bold green. Here's just a bunch of it because it matches the colors, I think, really well. I guess if you're trying to see the roof, this is a pretty good angle. Alright, so I have mini glue gun here, and I also have the white glue. We're about to determine which one is going to be more useful for this particular project. This is cute. Like, I'm really, maybe I'll put some down below. I want more contrast. I want this roof to be green up around the top. Let me also look at the other types of moss I have. Okay, so this is more the fake moss. It's cute though. I'm gonna cut a little chunk of this. Let's see how this is going. To have the top like totally covered was kind of my initial thought process. I really like the visual style of this more so than the loose moss. Okay, I'm considering that. Let me also just keep trying this out. I don't know. I don't love this color necessarily. But we're gonna use whatever we have. I think this color matches the best between everything, but Piano Sammy, thank you for the resub with Twitch Prime. We subbed for 17 months. That's awesome. Yes, Gucci Ghost. It is that moss aesthetic. We are constantly... Put some moss on it. Can you put some moss on that? Moss, please. Alright, so we'll compromise. We'll add a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know. And for this one, I will use the tiny hot glue gun because I want a more dimensional glue for this like wire base. The moss sandwich. You probably shouldn't eat something that's growing on your sandwich. It's just a little food tip from Heidi. This is actually going to cover quite a bit of the other moss we already added, but that's okay. We're just layering it up. Just playing around. Where's my... Yeah, here we go. Become the moss. Those nutrients. The mossy nutrients. I think that's just called mold at that point. It's growing on your food, then it's just mold. Okay, I actually like this more. We have the green of the this type, and now adding the like rusty colored moss that matches the roof material. I think it actually looks really cool together. So let's combine that. Yeah, I think that's the aesthetic that I was hoping for with this moss. It is coming from the red moss because I needed my very particular color scheme. So just around the top of this handle where it needs to be mossy, it's going to be rusty moss. It's where like all the little twig stems end, and it just really needs to. That was another piece I wanted to use. I'm gonna use this. Oh, and this will look even better with the blue flowers too. This like orangey color is really nice. Cool. I like that roof. Let's add a little bit more in the back. Heck yes, I really like all the layers and the colors that are coming out of this now. Oh no, everyone's talking about eating mold. I like look away and get absorbed in my fairy house creation. And what are you up to? You're all eating mold. This orange moss is definitely the stuff. So I had to go through some trial and error to wrap back around to wanting to use this color. Yeah, aren't a lot of cheeses just like fancy molds? They have to be cured over time. So I guess technically sometimes you're consuming mold on purpose and enjoying it, but only in select select situations. Oh, you guys. You keep me entertained during streams, even when I get absorbed into fairy house creation and moss placement. You know, proper moss placement takes some concentration, so cut me some slack. Your girl is working hard over here. Okay. There's the back of the roof. That looks pretty nice. I managed to cover up most of that rogue hot glue. That moss away. Sweep up the rest of this a little bit. And so now, flowers. It's flower time. Okay, we're gonna do a couple different things here. We need different tools. Oh, hi, Clean Noodle. It has been a little while. Alright, so these little guys are ready. They're covered in glue cobwebs now. They're not actually glued to anything, it's just like the little strings of hot glue. Come over them. Alright, so I was going to try to weave these into some type of vine by stacking them and twisting them together. Like so. And then adding to it as we go. So that's why I bothered to paint the stems and keep them. I hope this works out. We'll find out. Oops, there's some crap on the end of that. Stealth Slug says the little flowers are so adorable. Thanks. I think having them tightly woven together or tightly twisted together is going to be essential to making this work, but it seems like it's going to work just fine. So I'm going to try to make them not look perfectly even because we're trying to simulate some live growth here. And then I'll twist it all up a lot at the end. How about that? Dang, Nightbot. All of those. The Nightbot commands are like staggered, but they just like all hit at once. When the Nightbot hits all at once. You know, I didn't originally imagine I would do this. I thought I was just going to be cutting these stems off and trying to make it look like the flowers were like projecting from whatever I glued them onto, but I don't think that would have looked nearly as good. I think this is much better. Permission to beat up Nightbot. Permission denied. Do not antagonize Nightbot. He's an authority figure. So we're going to try to get these curling around over here. Oh, it's going to be so nice. And it's going to go up and around the roof and stuff too. Now, question, do we do multiple, because I have these blue ones, these dark blue ones I didn't even take out yet. Do we want two separate strands, one that's light and one that's dark? Or do we want flowers that are kind of interspersed, that both colors in one vine, is my question. Do we do separate vines, or do we intermingle? Let's find out. What looks good? The stems are slightly different colors, too. Oh, it looks good together, though. That's fine, the stems are different. We've got Arby's on the way. Dang, I just realized I don't even know if there's an Arby's near me. Oh no, this one just straight up broke. Well, I'm gonna keep this wire as a part of this vine because it's strengthening it, so whatever. I'll just add another one in, and it'll all be one vine. It's multicolored. I voted in my own mind and made my own decision. So it was not a vote. But you know what? We got our answer. So I'm just kind of building my flower vine randomly. Dang, I'm so glad I got this idea. Sometimes it just... You're not necessarily planning things. You can plan, but then you get a better idea in the moment. For me, anyway. Oh, hi, Pinstash. Welcome. We're just putting together a flowery vine. Back that one up. This needs to just become intertwined. Here we go. You love the flower vine? Me too, man. It just came to me moments ago. Okay, I like the idea of this being mostly the lighter colored flowers with a couple of the darker ones. And I need to keep it relatively sparse because I don't want to cover everything. This is going to be an accent. Okay, so I'm going to start twisting these a little bit more. Like I really mean it. I really like the way the twisted vine looks too now. Hee. Lorelei Snark says they're having a hard time with the work projects. This is a nice stream to come into. Good, I'm glad. Sweet fairy porch, thank you. We try. We're just trying to make sure that the fairies are having a nice time. Alright, so this top section is a little bit more solid now. Add another darker blue. And now I'm kind of glad I have so many of these tiny flowers because I could do a bunch of these. Not necessarily all for this little porch, but in general, I could use this technique on more projects. These little fabric flowers are also something that I just found in a thrift store at somebody else's abandoned craft, which I frequently pick up. Alright, 4 more of the light blue ones, and I'm going to try to incorporate all of those, plus maybe 1 or 2 more of the darker ones. The light ones, they look almost white, but they're technically a super light blue. And it's definitely easier to add them systematically from the top down rather than trying to work more back in like I just did. So keep that in mind if you attempt this on your own. Because now all I have to do is like pick up the next flower and start twisting it in. Queen Noodle says this is one of the most adorable projects they've seen in a while. Why, thank you. Okay, I think this is the end of the vine. How much more? I'll do this last one. Okay, so it'll have 2 last flowers. It'll be relatively close together. And that way we'll have a little bit of dark and light together at the bottom. Okay. Time for bed for Stealth Slug. Alright, Stealth Slug, thanks for joining us. See you next time. Now, if I wanted to really go at this in detail, I could get some flower floral tape and like cover up the twisted wire. But I like it. I think it's cute because you can see kind of the stranded colors. Alright, and then we'll cut off the very bottom in a little bit. Okay, so now I'm just going to bend it to try to make it look a little more natural, and we'll place it like so. Alright. Yay! Putting flowers on! This part is exciting because it's close to the end, pretty much. So I'm just going to strategically place small dots of blue. And get this to kind of wind around a little bit on the rooftop and then down the side of the house. And it'll be really cute. Oh, I'm so excited. This is the kind of stuff I just love doing. I'm just trying to make the wire a little bit more random, I guess. I'm going to turn this and go from the underside. Woo! Got my hand with the glue! It's worth it though for these little guys. These little fairy flowers. I'm alright, don't worry. This could be a sick flower crown for cosplay. Yeah. You mean with the twisted flower wires? See, with the way I ended up using the flowers, the stems were important, and so it's good that I took the time to paint them. Oh no, that didn't even stick down. That's okay, at least I know where to put it. Stinky Cat says, OMG, that is pretty. Thank you! I'm liking it. I think the blue really adds something. The blue and this like rust color are working really nicely together. Be careful, says Fatulous Phase, so that I don't burn my fingers again. Thanks, but sometimes you gotta put yourself in the line of fire to get the job done. Or whatever. Spend a little more time twisting this thing around, and then I can also cut the end now, which that's how I get the hook hand in the future. I hope not. If you could weatherproof the house, you could use it as a fancy bird feeder. That'd be interesting. I feel like I wouldn't want to put this much effort into something that I was actually just going to let nature take over on. Okay, so I want the vine, oops, let's get a little bit better. I want the vine to go like all the way underneath, as though it's like growing in and around the house, which it looks like I can just shove that in there and then figure out the rest. Yeah. Heck yeah. I'm gonna use my hot glue gun to pump a little bit of hot glue into that crack. And now I just tack down the rest in other positions. Yay! We're almost done here. Pardon me while I concentrate on flower placement over here. You know, just trying to make a good little fairy porch. And yeah, I like the idea that it's like growing in and around the balcony railing. So that's kind of how we got it positioned. All right. I'm using the back of my paintbrush to get in there and hold it down. The flowers really brings it together, so Zippity, thanks. I concur. glue this one like kind of up. So it's not falling. And that'll be like in position along the bottom. Now we'll manhandle a couple of the individual flowers to make sure they're like cute, pointing the right way. Alright, I think this is holding together really nicely now. So there's our flower decorated, lit up fairy patio porch. Which will now get furniture installed. Oh, I was gonna wait on these so that I could just do touch-ups on the little bitty cup, because that'll be much harder to get in to do anything to those cups after the table is glued down. So I guess I'll just do that little finishing touch on my own, but for now I can place it all and show you guys the end. Kitten Cake said they got absorbed in their project and haven't looked up in a while. It looks so dang cute. Thank you. I'm pleased. Alright, this is basically the final look. If I can get these to stand up properly. They'll get glued in, so it'll all be permanently attached. Oh, it's so precious! If I dare say so myself, which I do. Alright, those toadstools are gonna keep falling over, but let me swap views to the front view. Here's the toadstool chairs. And then we've got flowers. Now that I'm looking at all of it, I don't think it needs something under here because it wouldn't really be visible. It would kind of interrupt visually. I need to tack this in the back, but otherwise I think this is basically finished. I mean, I might do some tiny little detail updates later, but you're looking at the finished like concept of this project. Is that we have a little patio where two fairies can sit and enjoy their coffee together, and you know, look out at the rest of their neighborhood and what's sitting around them. Yes, they are toadstools. Look at those little mushrooms. Thank you, saying it came out rad. The flowers definitely add a lot of charm. I agree. The flowers add a lot because that color is really nice as well. And so I like the multi-textures and like the layered colors and stuff in this. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me for this fairy house project that we've been working on. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream here today, but this one is basically done, or you got to see the vast majority of the work on this little house. I'm going to do some photography of this out in nature, and then at that point I'll put it on my website and sell it. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested, and it'll also be posted on my social media. Thank you guys for so much for joining me this week in our fairy house streams, and we will be starting a new project next week on Monday at 2 p.m. here on this channel, Pacific time. Alright guys, thank you so much. I'll see you in Discord, so join our Discord community if you haven't already. I'd love to see the little creative projects that you guys have been working on, and I will definitely be posting more images of the fairy house in there too. Alright, see you guys on Monday.